A very warm welcome to Luntha TV News. I'm Kathy Matura reporting live from the Bishop Navy Media Center here in Lilongwe. As we mark the end of the third week of Lent, we continue to journey through this sacred season of reflection and renewal. It is a time for all of us as individuals and as a nation to examine our conscience and seek paths of justice and integrity. We have a full lineup of stories for you today, including the developing story on the controversial sale of the Amarillis Hotel. The matter touches on the hard-earned savings of Malawi's public servants. And as the parliamentary hearings continue, it remains a story that demands accountability. But first, we give you the headlines.
Pope Leo XIV appoints Augustinian Louis Marin de San Martin as new papal almoner. Malawi disburses $3.2 million in grants to boost value addition and market access. Make ballot papers stuck in Addis Ababa due to poor logistical communication. Arrival pushed to tomorrow. In our special report this week, Emmanuel Chiwocha takes an in-depth look at the rising suicide rates among Malawian youths, examining the underlying causes and exploring what the government, health professionals, and communities can do to respond to this growing crisis.
And now we give you the news in detail. In news from the Vatican, Pope Leo XIV has appointed Louis Marin de San Martin as the new papal almoner, entrusting him with the leadership of the Vatican office responsible for coordinating the Church's charitable outreach to the most vulnerable around the world. The Spanish Augustinian, who until now served as Undersecretary of the Synod of Bishops, is considered one of the close collaborators of the Holy Father, who also elevated him to the dignity of Archbishop. We have a wrong report read by Charit Chilanga.
In his new role, Archbishop Louis Marin will serve as prefect of the Dicastery for the Service of Charity, the Vatican department dedicated to providing assistance to the poor and responding to humanitarian emergencies. The Dicastery coordinates the Pope's charitable initiatives, including the distribution of aid to communities affected by poverty, natural disasters, and armed conflict, reflecting the Church's commitment to solidarity with those most in need. Archbishop Marin succeeds Konrad Klajus, who was appointed Papal almoner by Pope Francis in 2013, shortly after the beginning of his pontificate. After years of dedicated service in overseeing the Pope's charitable works, Cardinal Klajus will now return to his homeland, Poland, where he has been appointed to lead the pastoral governance of the Archdiocese of Lodz. Born in Lodz, Cardinal Klajus also completed his seminary formation there.
Malawi has taken a significant step towards strengthening value addition and expanding market access after 17 business institutions received grants totaling $3.2 million under the Agriculture Commercialization and Innovation Facility, ACIF. Speaking on Thursday during the disbursement ceremony at the Bingu International Convention Center in Lilongwe, the National Coordinator for the Trade Program, Dr. Barbara Ntapara, said the funding will help local businesses enhance value addition and access broader markets for their products. Falis Chizombe has filed this report read in our studios by Kalista Kamendo.
Ntapala explained that the program will closely monitor the implementation of the program to ensure the funds are used effectively. She said this will include oversight on procurement of equipment and commencement of production processes among beneficiary institutions.
From their production and what we are going to see in the markets, but also in their sales and the farmers that are going to be linked to benefit for them to be the off-takers, but also to support the commercial market of these value chains. Will be able to monitor and check indeed that these SMEs, they are indeed contributing to the production, but also productivity of the chosen value chains.
In his statement, Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, Ben Pili, urged local producers involved in the program to continue working closely with the Malawi Bureau of Standards to address the existing bottlenecks that affect production and trade. Ben Pili said, strengthening collaboration with standards authorities will help improve the quality of local production, boost exports, and reduce countries' reliance on imported goods.
We have been an agri-based economy for so long. But if you see that we are year in, year out, we experience hunger. Year in, year out, we import tomatoes, we import apples, we import different things when we can grow in Malawi, when we can add value. Until we add value, we will do import substitution. Until we add value, we will export our products, and that is when the economy will begin to grow.
In her comments, Country Director for International Funds for Agricultural Development, IFAD, in Malawi, Benedetta Magonyora, noted that many local producers face several challenges that hinder growth, adding that the grant will help address some of these constraints among the value chain.
The objective of the ASIF large grants that we have just awarded today is really to try and start pushing the needle in terms of value addition in the country. We see a lot of farmers that are producing soya, sunflower, beef, dairy. Their biggest challenge or biggest impediment is one, access to markets. The second one is access to facilities, access to equipment for value addition.
One of the beneficiaries, Director March Milk Company Madaliso Charles Pili, said the financial support will help expand production capacity, strengthening value chain suppliers, and create employment opportunities.
Through this grant, it means our production, capacity will be boosted, and we will be able, to reach, the levels of production that we have been, aspiring as a company. And in so doing, we'll create a lot of employment, and also will create a lot of, value chain from our suppliers, that's the dairy milk producers.
The grants supported by IFAD, OPIC, and other partners are being used in 3 categories: small grants, women and youth grants, and large grants. In total, $10 million had been allocated for grants under the initiative, which was launched in 2019. Trade program aimed at stimulating economic growth in Malawi.
The Malawi Economic Justice Network, MEJN, says it will continue advocating for strategic and structural reforms aimed at improving the implementation of the national budget and ensuring that public resources are used effectively to drive national development. MEJN Executive Director Bethany Papiri said this during a budget engagement dinner organized by the Malawi Economic Justice Network, which brought together the Parliamentary Committee on Budget and Finance and other civil society organizations in Lilongwe on Thursday night. More in this report read by Gift Kalonga.
Papiri emphasized the importance of engaging members of parliament to scrutinize the national budget and propose amendments that can strengthen social protection programs and improve the allocation of public resources. She then stressed the need to increase allocation to the development budget, saying Malawi should work towards meeting the regional recommendation of allocating at least 25% of national budget to development spending in order to stimulate economic growth and improve public service delivery.
In the increment in the development budget, that has been our message to say at regional level we must be above 25%. So considerations are there. We are not yet there, yes, but these interventions and engagements are certainly very helpful for parliamentarians to engage with the budget.
Chairperson of the Parliamentary Committee on Budget and Finance, Sosten Gwengwe, said engagements with civil society organizations help members of parliament analyze the national budget from an independent and non-political perspective. He said such insights enable lawmakers to better understand key issues before debating the budget in parliament.
So basically, we need to be able to look at how best to allocate the resources, who should be targeted for what. Because if we really don't get it right, we will actually be getting everyone under the safety net, or one sort of safety net from government, and there's a danger of creating a social welfare state.
On his part, head of programs at Norwegian Church Aid, Om Manjamada, said the meeting was important because it brought together members of parliament, particularly those from the Budget and Finance Committee, to review the national budget and identify key issues that can guide their deliberations in parliament.
We are trying to analyze this year's budget, and that's important for them to take key issues that could support them in the deliberations in the organ.
The Malawi Economic Justice Network, MEGIN, organized the budget analysis engagement dinner with Parliament to share its budget analysis and that of other stakeholders. The event was being supported by Norwegian Church Aid under a project aimed at fighting social and economic inequalities in education, health, and social security. For Luntha Television, in Lilongwe.
Malawi Electoral Commission May Commissioner Richard Chapwetika states that the ballot papers for the Commission had anticipated receiving today were delayed due to poor logistical communication. He explained that the Commission expected the second batch of ballot papers to arrive at Kamuzu Airport at 2 p.m. today, but they are currently held up in Addis Ababa. Chapwetika confirmed that the ballot papers are now scheduled to arrive in the country tomorrow at 1 p.m. via Kamuzu Airport. Phyllis Chizombe has the details.
Speaking at Kamuzu Airport, May Commissioner Richard Chapwetika said the Commission has received 11 pallets of ballot papers and is still waiting for 14 more pallets. Chapwetika stated that the first consignment of complete ballot papers has already been dispatched to 5 constituencies, including Zuzu City North, Dowangala, Mangochi North East, Zomba Shikomwe, and Zomba City North.
Receive the remaining 14 pallets of ballot papers that were supposed to arrive 2 days ago. However, I think there was poor, logistical arrangement in Addis Ababa. They had planned to put, those ballots on wider aircraft, which can only come here on Monday or Tuesday. So we have advised them that no, they should either come tomorrow morning or latest by, the scheduled, commercial flight that arrives around 1 o'clock here, so that we have all the ballots here and we dispatch them, tomorrow to various constituencies and wards.
By Chapwetika's account, the Malawi Electoral Commission conducted tripartite elections on September 16, 2025, and is expected to hold by-elections on March 17, 2026 for local government and parliamentary seats. Reporting for Luntha News, this is Phyllis Chizombe.
The Center for Democracy and Economic Development Initiative, CEDED, has given the Reserve Bank of Malawi, Malawi Police Service and Financial Intelligence Authority 48 hours to arrest individuals allegedly involved in the fraudulent sale of Amarillis Hotel in Blantyre. Speaking in Lilongwe at a press briefing today, CEDED Executive Director Sylvester Namiwa said authorities must act quickly to recover the 128 billion kwacha, which he claims belongs to the Public Service Pension Trust Fund. He emphasized that the funds are intended to benefit Malawian public servants and pensioners, warning that failure to recover the money would be a serious injustice. Namiwa also urged the Anti-Corruption Bureau not to interfere, citing past failures in handling similar public resource cases, and insisted that law enforcement take decisive action within 48 hours to ensure the alleged perpetrators are arrested and prosecuted. Namiwa explains.
Sound helplessness because we've got state machinery in the name of they should follow the account belonging to Yusuf Investments where that 90 billion Malawi kwacha was paid. They should trail the money and see who actually benefits. The Financial Intelligence Authority and the CID of the Malawi Police Service should invoke the voters' mandate to ensure that those implicated should be arrested. No need for further inquiries or investigations. Let SCB concentrate on other equally important matters, the case of Greenbelt, the East Bridge, and the Immigration Department. This is a straightforward matter. Those people implicated, they should clear their names before the course of law. Meanwhile,
You're watching News Live on Luntha TV. We take a short break. Stay with us.
Pope Leo XIV appoints Augustinian Louis Marin de San Martin as new papal almoner. Malawi disburses $3.2 million in grants to boost value addition and market access. Make ballot papers stuck in Addis Ababa due to poor logistical communication. Arrival pushed to tomorrow. In our special report this week, Emmanuel Chiwocha takes an in-depth look at the rising suicide rates among Malawian youths, examining the underlying causes and exploring what the government, health professionals, and communities can do to respond to this growing crisis.
Welcome back. In case you're just joining us, you are watching Luntha TV News and I'm Kathy Matura. But before we proceed, here is a recap of the news making the headlines.
Pope Leo XIV appoints Augustinian Louis Marin de San Martin as new papal almoner. Malawi disburses $3.2 million in grants to boost value addition and market access. Make ballot papers stuck in Addis Ababa due to poor logistical communication. Arrival pushed to tomorrow. In our special report this week, Emmanuel Chiwocha takes an in-depth look at the rising suicide rates among Malawian youths, examining the underlying causes and exploring what the government, health professionals, and communities can do to respond to this growing crisis.
Moving on, Malawi has reaffirmed its commitment to empowering young people by providing them with practical and marketable skills through its Mjito Mbambande project. Speaking during a media tour in Salima, the organization's country director Pamela Kuwali said the initiative is designed to equip youths with skills that enable them to secure employment or start their own businesses. The tour gave journalists an opportunity to visit several project sites where beneficiaries are being trained in different technical and vocational disciplines. Constance Kamtemeni is in Salima and she now reports.
After the tour, Kowali said the organization is working to link the beneficiaries to employment opportunities and business startups once they finish their training. She noted that providing training alone isn't enough.
Training on itself is not enough. That's why after we provide the training during the schools, we are also linking these people to businesses or providing them with support to start their own businesses. So we want to ensure that they receive the training, they get employed, or they receive the training, they get equipped, and they start their own businesses.
On his part, Assistant Registrar in the Ministry of Labour, Department of Technical and Vocational Training, Anderson Rajabu, commended the initiative, saying it supports government efforts of youth empowerment. He, however, urged graduates to organize themselves into groups in order to have easy access to financial support for businesses.
Particular training or trainings in particular fields, they are supposed to put themselves, to organize themselves into groups so that they can access a loan from the bank. Why loan? It's because when it is a grant, in most cases it has been reviewed that those that have been given grants to start or to establish their own businesses, they do abuse the grants.
One of the beneficiaries, Tamandan Magombo, said the training has helped him to acquire computer skills despite living with a disability.
I need to advise my fellow persons with disabilities that time has come to transform our lives through the skills provided by Chiro Mbambade project and Care Malawi. So let's work hard. We can manage to do anything. Writing on a computer, even skills are so many.
During the visit, journalists appreciated ICT training at Pamud's School of Computing, where other beneficiaries demonstrated skills acquired on fabrication and welding. The tour also reached Ngolowindo Irrigation Scheme, where the youths are trained on irrigation farming. Young women were also seen repairing motorcycles, solar installation and maintenance, skills that were traditionally dominated by men. The Nchiro Mbambande project, being implemented by Care Malawi, gets funding from the European Union to equip at least 5,300 youths with marketable technical and vocational skills across Malawi. For Luntha News, this is Constance Kamtemen.
The Public-Private Partnership Commission, PPPC, has appealed to the government through Parliament's parliamentary cluster on commissions, statutory authorities and public appointments to increase its funding in the 2026-2027 national budget to enable the Commission effectively implement key national development projects. Speaking when the Commission appeared before the parliamentary cluster in Lilongwe, PPPC Chief Executive Officer Patrick Kabambe said the current allocation is not sufficient to support the scale of projects the Commission is mandated to oversee. Alison Banda has a report.
Kabambe said the Commission has lined up several strategic public-private partnership projects that require adequate financial resources to move forward. He noted that increased funding would strengthen the project preparations, attract credible private investors, and ensure efficient implementation. Among the priority projects he highlighted is the Shire Valley Transformation Program, which aims to boost food security, increase agricultural productivity, and improve livelihoods for thousands of farmers in the southern region. Kabambe also cited the construction of staff houses at Malawi University of Science and Technology, MUST, to address accommodation challenges for university employees. He also proposed an increase for railway line connecting Lilongwe to northern region, which Kabambe said would improve the transportation of goods and passengers, reduce logistic costs, and stimulate trade.
So at the moment, things are quite advanced. We are hoping that by the second half of this year, work on the ground will start. At the moment, they are reviewing the bids for construction companies that will construct the dam, the power lines, and the other works. So we're hoping that within this year, we're confident that project will roll off.
Commenting on the request, Chairperson for Parliamentary Cluster, Ayuba Sylvester James, noted that the committee recognizes the important role played by the Commission in driving economic growth and infrastructure development in the country. James further revealed that its proposed budget for 2026-2027 financial year stands at 4.81 billion Malawi kwacha, but the Treasury has allocated only 1 billion Malawi kwacha, leaving a funding gap of about 3.81 billion kwacha.
The presentation has made us understand in detail and at a deeper level the work of the private public partnership, and I think going forward we are convinced as a committee that they need to be properly funded because they play an important role in identifying private investors into our economy to generate income for the economy, generate employment for the economy, and sustain livelihoods. So
Members of Parliament are currently scrutinizing budget proposals from various commissions as part of preparations for 2026-2027 national budget.
The Public Accounts Committee, Park of Parliament, says it will summon all individuals linked to the controversial 128.7 billion kwacha Amarillis Hotel purchase as investigations continue. Park Chairperson Steve Babamalondera said the committee has requested an extension of its meetings to allow more time for the inquiry and is waiting for approval from the Speaker of Parliament. During the hearing, former Public Service Pension Trust Fund PSPTF Board Chairperson James Kumenda revealed that the board, during a special meeting held on January 17, 2024, resolved not to proceed with the purchase of the hotel. He said the initial proposal to buy the hotel was presented by Nico Asset Managers, who had described the investment as profitable, but later advised the board to abandon the deal after a review. Kumwenta also disclosed that the hotel's price increased from 47 billion kwacha in 2023 to 61 billion kwacha due to the depreciation of the kwacha. He further claimed that pension fund officials were later summoned by officials from the President's office and some ministers who urged them to reconsider the purchase, but the board maintained its decision not to proceed. Park is currently meeting with the PSPTF Secretariat and is expected to meet the new board of the fund as the inquiry into the Amarillis Hotel transaction continues. We'll give you a report in our subsequent bulletins. Malawi is facing a troubling increase in suicide cases, with young people disproportionately affected. Over the past 3 years, the number of reported incidents has sparked alarm among authorities, health experts, and community leaders. Data from Malawi Police Service MPS covering 2023 to 2025 shows that men make up the vast majority of suicide victims, consistently accounting for over 80% of reported cases. This special report by Emmanuel Chiwocha takes an in-depth look at the rising suicide rates among Malawian youths, examining the underlying causes and exploring what the government, health professionals, and communities can do to respond to this growing crisis.
Malawi has a youthful population, with young people making up the majority, often described as the future leaders of today and tomorrow. The increasing number of youth taking their own lives is deeply concerning. Data from Malawi Police Service indicate that 220 suicide cases were recorded in 2023. In 2024, the number rose sharply to 597 cases, while 153 cases were registered in the first quarter of 2025 alone, signaling a worrying trend if the situation remains unchecked. Health expert George Jobe says the rise in suicide cases is alarming and called on the government to take urgent action to address the problem. Jobe points several contributing factors, including high employment among the youth, marital and relationship problems, and growing economic pressure. He emphasized the need for government to establish counseling centers in public hospitals, intensify awareness campaign on mental health, and create more employment opportunities for the youth.
Youth fail to access psychosocial support from experienced people. That could be some of the reasons. But above all, what we need as a nation is to invest more in psychosocial support and provide some centers where those, not only the youth, including men, and even the few women are 100% in their families. They should go and access such family services. There could be some corners in our health facilities, and the private sector, those who have specialized in counseling and guidance.
Meanwhile, Physicians Union of Malawi President Solomon Jomba says efforts to tackle suicide cases must start at the family level. Jomba says poor parenting, substance abuse, such as chamber, and excessive use of technology are some of the issues contributing to stress and depression among young people. He has therefore called on the government to introduce programs promoting good parenting, increase mental health awareness through radio, television, and social media, and establish accessible counseling facilities for families and young people.
Hence, on all protective measures of society. So protective measures are looking at things that can curb, can prevent youth or young ones to make a decision of committing suicide. For instance, the government should make sure that it provides a safety net in terms of the socio-economic abilities of the young ones, so that they must be able to achieve some of the basic necessities for their socio-economic development. Talk of the social safety net, all right, or the economic safety net, like what's been happening, like provision of some loans, trainings to the youth in terms of let's say some business trainings, or issues of basically talk of entrepreneurship.
Archbishop George Tambala of Lilongwe Archdiocese has also expressed concern over the increased suicide cases among the youth. Tambala says since young people make up a large portion of the country's population, it is deeply troubling to see many of them losing hope and taking their own lives. He believes that churches, companies, and other institutions must work together with the government to create opportunities, promote mental health, awareness, and encourage young people to speak openly about the challenges they face.
I was pointing at that we also have to embrace this area. This area is actually in need in every place in Malawi. I think there's a need for us to focus on the mental health. The suicide that you have mentioned are a result of struggles in mental health. So I have called upon the chaplains to actually look at that to help in case our workers may need to avail themselves with that kind of help.
Mental health expert Herbert Chawinga says lack of social and economic support systems is the major factor contributing to the rise of suicide cases among young people. Chawinga notes that government recent announcement that it cannot employ more people due to financial challenges has worsened the situation for many youth who are already struggling to survive.
I feel there's one part that we have to look into. Identify the key youths and be the role model. Because other organizations then will learn from us. Because if you look at, if the church begins, who comes to the church, or if a religious grouping begins, who learns from this, who comes to attend lesson services there? These are people from different organizations, government departments. Why don't we can borrow something from the church itself to say, this is what we do at our church. Why don't we incorporate this one in our organization or government department?
As suicide cases continue to rise in Malawi, experts agreed that a coordinated response involving government, families, churches, and communities is urgently needed. Addressing unemployment, strengthening mental health services, promoting awareness, and building supportive families and community structures could play a crucial role in reversing the worrying trend. Without decisive action, the country risks losing many young people who represent the future of Malawi. For Luntha News in Lilongwe, this is Emmanuel Juocha.
In that special report on rising youth suicide by Emmanuel Chuocha brings us to the end of this bulletin. It is a stark reminder of the challenges facing our young people and the urgent need for compassion and support within our communities. Before I go, here's a recap of the news making the headlines.
Pope Leo XIV appoints Augustinian Louis Marin de San Martin as new papal almoner. Malawi disburses $3.2 million in grants to boost value addition and market access. Make ballot papers stuck in Addis Ababa due to poor logistical communication. Arrival pushed to tomorrow. In our special report this week, Emmanuel Chiwocha takes an in-depth look at the rising suicide rates among Malawian youths, examining the underlying causes and exploring what the government, health professionals, and communities can do to respond to this growing crisis.
As we bring today's edition of Luntha TV News to a close, we carry with us the spirit of this Lenten season, a time to reflect, renew, and draw closer to God. Let us pray for our leaders that they may govern with wisdom and integrity, and for all Malawians that we may build a nation rooted in truth and justice. From all of us here at Bishop Nevi Media Center in Lilongwe, thank you for joining us. I'm Kathy Matura. May your weekend be blessed and may you walk peacefully through these remaining days of Lent. Goodbye and God bless.